Welcome back to the third part of our series in how you can become a masterful presenter and communicator and get out there and share your word and make a difference and make more money and live a better life and change your lifestyle. And this particular series, in this particular part, I want to talk about engagement. How do you engage your audience? How do you engage them so that not only are they learning from you, but they're helping you to make sure that the presentation has life? You know, there's nothing as boring as you go to a presentation. You know, some guy is standing behind, you know, one of these, I don't know what they call them anymore, and you know, there's a microphone and they're talking and there's no energy, there's no life, and you know, you look at the audience and half of them are sleeping. You know, why? Because there's lack of engagement. Now, some of the greatest speakers in the world, as you've noticed, they like to engage the crowd. They like to move. They like to make sure that they're asking questions. And in this framework that I'm going to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, it will help you to be able to engage your audiences, to be able to get feedback, to be able to be a memorable speaker. And I think that is a great thing to have as a speaker. You know, the good old days of having boring speakers are gone. You know, you want to be able to get on stage, and when you finish, you're like, oh, wow, that was great. But most importantly, the audience says, yes, that was great. So, let me start by sharing with you the first step for you, ladies and gentlemen, to engage your crowd is presence. Presence, presence, presence. What do I mean? This is now presence from a different point of view. It is not about you. It's about your audience. It's about your service to them. You know, people will feel you. People can make you out very quickly if you get on and it is about you, and you want to show off how good a presenter you are, and you want to show off how well dressed you are, or how much you know your material. You know, people will switch off after a certain stage. If you turn that around and you get on stage and your presence is about, hey, I'm here to serve. Hey, I'm here to make sure that you get something from me. It totally changes the dynamics of the presentation. All of a sudden, everybody's like, wow, we want to hear more. Why? Because this person is here to serve me. Most importantly, he's interesting and he's present. So that is the number one step in terms of engagement. Just be present. Before you get on stage, go in. These days I've learned, I go and center myself. I'll take 5-10 minutes to center myself, make sure that I'm here to serve, make sure that, you know, there's nothing that I need to think about. No, it is between me and my audience. Most importantly, I'm here to serve them. It's not about Coach Phill, it is about my audience. That's the number one thing. Number two, stories. There's nothing that engages like stories, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing that engages like stories. And, hey, not just stories for the sake of it, but stories that they can relate to. You know, the subconscious mind loves stories. And the moment you start telling people stories, bam, you got them. And if there's stories that they can relate to, and they can see how they could be part of it, or they can see how you can move them emotionally with the stories, guess what? All of a sudden, the engagement goes to a different level. You know, sometimes, you know, I've seen presenters, he comes on and he's telling stories about himself and how he did this, and it's about me. No. Turn it around. Tell them stories that are going to uplift them, but they're also going to encourage them. Include stories that are going to get them to think about their situation. Most importantly, that are going to encourage them to say, you know what, I want a piece of that. You know, if you're going to talk to plumbers, for example, don't go and start telling stories about something that is totally unrelated. You know, talk about a story that they could relate to in real life. Talk about a story that is not so far-fetched, you know. It is not about where I was in the 5-star. No. Talk about something that, by the way, this has got nothing to do with plumbers. It is just, I needed to make an example. If you're going to talk to, say, market people, if you're going to talk to street kids, make sure the stories relate. You know, I've been known to be the kind of guy, regardless of where I'm at, I can engage. If I'm talking to street kids, I will tell them stories that relate to them. If I am at the parliament, or if I am talking to the chief judge, or whoever, I will still have a story to say to engage him. Why? Because I know that is where you begin to engage people and get impact. So make sure you have a bank of stories that can help you to engage your audience and get them to relate to them, and they're like, So it actually is possible. It actually can work. So number 3, ladies and gentlemen, movement and personification. Now when I'm shooting videos, I'm actually a little bit restrained because, you know, we got to make sure that we get the picture right. However, ladies and gentlemen, movement and personification is one of your greatest tools when you get on stage. You know, I am one of those guys when I get on stage, if I go anywhere and I've got to give a speech while sitting, no, it's not going to work. I always move with my wireless microphone. If everybody has been sitting, I am going to get up and I'm going to rock. I'm going to move. Why? When you move, you bring energy. When you move, you raise people's spirits. You know, in all the great seminars that I've attended in the last 10 years or so, there's a lot of movement. People are getting up and moving and dancing and stuff. Why? Movement helps to engage. Movement helps to keep us fresh. You know, in the live training that we do with this particular, with public speaking, there's a segment called personification drill. And in the personification drill, you tell stories, but you become the things in those stories. You know, you tell stories. So there I was, and I was riding a bicycle, and you know, you really go into it, and you know, all of a sudden the energy and the engagement from the audience is awesome. Why? Because of the movement and because of the energy that you bring. You know, you see people come on stage and stand in one place and talk and talk and talk. After 10 minutes, your mind begins to close and begins to wander into other things. No, not on our audience. Our audiences know that, you know what, these guys are going to rock and roll. After 79 minutes, everybody is up and moving. Why? It helps to engage. How about yourself? Think about next time you're going to present. You know, now I've had situations where a lady comes, you know what, maybe my audience, and in fact I have one of my clients, we've been doing some coaching, so she came to me and said, you know what, coach, sometimes protocol demands that, you know, you're a little bit distant and you don't move. So I asked her a question, listen, why do you get up to speak in the first place? Oh, I want them to make decisions. I say, okay, do you really want them to get up and make a decision? Is that your ultimate goal? Say, yes. I say, okay, would it be easier for you to just sit and talk and hope it happens? Or would it be much more impactful if you got up and did something they're not used to? If you got up and moved them? Especially adults, when you're teaching adults, they're thinking, their ability to stay concentrated, the time you have is not that much. And if they're just going to sit there and listen to you, their minds are going to wander. So I said to her, for this one time, you got this paper to present, for this one time, go in and move. Go in and break the rules. Go in and stand up and let's see what happens. Lo and behold, she comes to me. She actually didn't come to me. She called me that night at around 10:30 in the night. She was so excited. Oh my God, coach, can you imagine? Can you imagine? I said, oh, what's that? She said, guess what? I was initially very afraid, but when I got up and I started to move and engage, all of a sudden, I started to get a lot more feedback from them. And when I was done, I got a round of applause. Out of 6 people who presented. Hello. Movement. Movement, movement, movement. The next part, ladies and gentlemen, part number 4 is tag questions. What do I mean by tag questions? It's important that you have tag questions with your audience because it keeps them alert, it keeps them alive. Most importantly, it keeps it interesting, doesn't it? I mean, I've just asked you, haven't I? Because you know it makes sense, don't you? Because I'm using the tag questions on you right now. Am I not? Because that is the way that you keep an audience engaged, isn't it? And I continue to do it by asking you more tag questions. Am I not? I guess by now you get the point. Tag questions help you to engage your audience, ask them questions, and all of a sudden it is a two-way thing, and the energy there is so amazing. When you're asking and they're throwing back, you know, it is an energy that takes a presentation to another level. So think about it. Next time that you go to present, prepare your tag questions. No, okay, at this stage, I'm going to have some tag questions where I can engage the audience. And then all of a sudden, you begin to have this back and forth, bam, engagement goes to the next level. Then you start creating raving fans rather than just people who come to listen to you. The 5th part of this particular framework is anchor phrases. Most of you will have heard most of these. For example, when I say, I have a, that's right, You got it. Yes, we. That's another one. Just. Yeah, some of you don't know. Just do it. Now, guess what? Those are anchor phrases. Why is this important? When you get up on stage to speak, make sure you're memorable by giving people something to remind them of you. But also, for example, one of the greatest anchor phrases that I've heard was, I was reading a story of some gentleman who went to do a training for some students. And one of these gentlemen who came about was a gentleman who had been doing football coaching. And he came on to talk to these students of how to remain in state and how to ensure that their sports careers can be much more than just being a sportsman, but create a legacy and stuff like that. So the gentleman comes on stage, and as he was stepping up on stage to start to speak, this is how he started. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is to remember who you are, where you're coming from, and where you're going. My name is so and so, and I'm going to be speaking to you for the next 30 minutes about how you can make sure that your sports life does not end up a tragedy but continues to live a legacy. Because what is important is to always remember who you are, where you're coming from, and where you're going." So the steps that you have to take are dang, 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 dang. And whatever happens, ladies and gentlemen, always remember who you are, where you're coming from, and where you're going. Ladies and gentlemen, as I leave you today, I pray that you live strong. Most importantly, remember who you are, where you're coming from. Now, guess what? Everybody in that audience repeated that over and over and over. So when they went away, it was in their minds. It's the same thing like "Yes, we can," or "I have a dream" by Martin Luther King. Guess what? Because it has been repeated over and over again, it becomes memorable. These days, you just say, "I have a dream," and then people begin to feel, "Oh, there's something there." "Oh, yes, we can," and then, just do it. Everybody knows it's Nike. So make sure that in terms of engaging your audience, you have a phrase anchor. When I'm doing a public speaking training, for example, I always say, "Are you ready?" And everybody shouts, "Bring it on." At the end, sometimes even before I say, "Are you?" they're already saying, "Bring it on." Why? Because over and over we've done it. But most importantly, we've gotten them in that state where they know every time I say, "Are you ready?" they're ready to go. They're ready to bring it on. What kind of phrase anchors can you have in yours? Think about them. Most importantly, use them to not only get people to remember, but to link action to it. It's always a good way to make sure that, hey, it's not just for the sake of it, it is that it's going to inspire some action. Okay? Now, number 6, ladies and gentlemen, this is important. I had this phrase, I don't remember where I had it, but I think it is crucial. Edutain your audience. What do I mean? Educate them as you entertain them. There's nothing as important and as crucial as edutainment when it comes to adult education. And I'm not just talking about, hey, you go on and you just dance for the sake of it. No. Educate them as you entertain them. Educate them and give them some real life skills and entertain them at the same time. Have some humor. Laugh at yourself. Get them to crack jokes. Edutain. Give them the skills as well as entertain them. Then you become much more memorable. I mean, think about the best thing that, or anything that you have learned in the last 2 years. Think about it. Was it fun? Did you enjoy it? And one of the reasons you probably remember is because it was enjoyable. My point exactly. When you want to engage your audience, make sure you're educating them as well as entertaining them. When you challenge and push them, guess what? You're educating them and then you get them to jump up and laugh and dance. Good. You laugh at yourself, you boogie, you do whatever it takes. Then all of a sudden that energy is just awesome. Even right now I get a little bit of goosebumps. Why? Because I know when that energy catches on, boom, you go to the next level. Everybody leaves the audio, leaves the room and they're feeling good about themselves. Most importantly, they've learned something. Because guess what? We just don't speak for the sake of speaking. We speak to make an impact. So, finally, number 7, uplift your audiences. Honor their challenges. Recognize and respect their journeys, ladies and gentlemen. You know, if you come on and you're just talking at them and you're not recognizing what it has taken them to get there, you're not recognizing their challenges, you're not recognizing their struggles, engagement becomes very, very difficult. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you honor their journeys. You respect where they are at. And your job is to uplift them and say, hey, you're there, you want to go there, it's possible. Together we can get you there. I can support you, I can help you up there. And in doing that, people stop to just think it's about them, and then they feel, oh, this guy really cares about us, and bam, before you know it, the engagement goes to another level. So there you are. 7 ways of how to engage an audience. 7 ways of how to ensure that not only do you get them to listen to you, you get them to be raving fans, so that they can go away and say, you know what, when you go to one of Coach Phil's seminars, bam, it's just going to be awesome. So everybody wants to come. They will talk about you in the right way. They will tell everybody else about you. And guess what? You will begin to achieve the goals that you set out to, whatever it is, to make an impact, to make money, take your company to the next level. In doing this, ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt, you begin to achieve those goals. As usual, ladies and gentlemen, I want to request you, if you liked what we went through here today, please comment just below this video, whether you like or you don't. We're in the business of feedback. Give us some feedback so we can get to know and improve and get better. Most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, also give us some feedback in terms of what else you'd like us to share with you. What else would you like to learn? I mean, 15 years of top-notch consultancy and training and educating, we know something, and we would like to share some of that with you. So, as usual, whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, please remember, we have a final video. And in that final video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 E's. Now, you got to, what can I say? The 5 E's is what brings all this together. The 5 E's is what separates the mediocre presenters from the real presenters. The 5 E's is what takes you from a nobody to somebody who everybody wants to listen to. That will be in the next video, and I hope I'll catch you then. In the meantime, whatever you do, live strong, believe, most importantly, love deeply, and the world can only be a better place.